everyone, welcome back to StrangeCast Player One versus the World's Life is Strange podcast. I am your host, Adnan. Adam is here, but ignore us because we have a very special guest. We had her on Life After Strange many, many months ago, but now I can actually introduce her as BAFTA-nominated actor, Erika Mori. Alex Chen herself. Erika Mori is here. Erika, how are you?
I'm great. It's good to be back talking with you, and nice to meet you, Adam.
Oh, nice to meet you too. BAFTA nominated. That's wild.
That is, you have no idea how wild it is. That seems like a dream.
Well, that's where we start.
Yes.
That's where we start.
Yeah.
That's where we start.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Because obviously I pretty much said to you that you were going to get nominated for a BAFTA. I was convinced on that, and then nomination comes in. How did you feel getting that?
It was a total surprise. Also because the BAFTAs, they broke up the nomination announcement. So like narrative and animation, we knew, I think weeks earlier. And then I was going about my day and Han texts me and he goes, "Hey, have you been on Twitter?" And I was like, "No, what's happened?" And he was like, "We just got nominated for the game for a BAFTA." And it was, I think, even made sweeter because the two of us were nominated together. I think it was even more wonderful, for sure.
I'm really glad to hear that. We'll come on to Han Soto in a little bit. There's something we need to address about that, but I'll explain it later. So nomination comes in. We go to London, baby. You go with Square folks, you go with Webb, Katie goes as well.
Yeah.
Han. Was this your first visit to London?
It wasn't. I've been to London a few other times, and just as a tourist, and have had an absolute ball. But this was, I think, the first time where I've really known people from London. And so that was awesome. This was the first time that I'd seen Square people in 2 years. It was the first time I'd met in person, like a lot of the press team, who I'd been working with for the past year. And it was just so much fun. I'm so glad Katie was able to go. She's done so much to promote the game and support the game. She had the DLC. She was the DLC. And so, you know, I thought it was a really nice trip that was inclusive of a lot of the different elements and people who really made True Colors what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, like, that's one thing I wanted to ask you with Katie, because I was big Katie fan. I've known Katie for many years, and with Katie, I was very much advocating her to be nominated for Best Supporting, and obviously Han got in there, and Life is Strange has been nominated twice in that category before, but were you surprised she wasn't nominated in that category?
I'm surprised that, we didn't have more nominations. Also because I'm incredibly biased, and I think that True Colors and Life is Strange is a pretty unique category. From my limited exposure to the gaming industry, I think back to the BAFTAs, they were a totally different type of award ceremony than the Game Awards that happened at the end of 2021. At the Game Awards, that was where a ton of new games were introduced. And I remember sitting through the 4 hours of the Game Awards being like, man, a game like Life is Strange to be released, for me to see that trailer right now would be such a palate cleanser. And I think it is really unique. You see that in the community. And I'm so thrilled with the nominations that we did receive and the recognition that we did receive. And I also think that people like Katie don't need nominations or awards to continue to work, to have a really dedicated, loyal following, for people to know how insanely talented she is. And it's something I really respect about her, is she was so one of the first people to reach out to me, to reach out to Han, was just so supportive. And I think that's really rare in this business, to find people who are just genuinely happy for the successes of others. And I have no doubt in my mind that Katie's successes will continue to come to her, and in bigger and more intense forms, for sure.
Can I ask a question between the differences? Oh, what? That's what you get with West Coast people. Difference between Game Awards and the BAFTAs, as somebody who watches both of them, right? Even I, as someone who just watches it from the sidelines, I guess, like notices like this big trend between like actually giving the awards to the nominees versus something like the Game Awards. It's more of like a commercial, right?
Sure,
so, in your opinion, and this is not a knock, if Jeff Keighley's watching this, she's not trying to knock you, all right? In your opinion, as somebody who's like getting nominated and you're sitting with people who are nominated, does it hurt sometimes where they kind of just go through the nominees, like where Jeff Keighley's up on stage, like, and the nominees are blah, 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 and the winner is, okay, moving on. Does that hurt ever?
It never hurt me. I think that one of the benefits of being brand new to being nominated for anything or the industry at all was I was able to just go in without any expectation at all. Like in any of these, I never expected a damn thing. It was literally like, I'm so pleased to be here. And I feel like some people may have been tricked because I am here, but I'm not going to say anything because this is amazing. Yeah. What I did notice, like another difference, like during the Game Awards, that was early December 2021, and COVID was really spiking again. And so, the Microsoft Theater was not at capacity at all, right? There were just so many more protocols that were in place. There weren't after parties. There weren't like any real meet and greets beforehand because they were really trying to keep it safe and not get shut down, versus in April, things had relaxed a little bit more and it felt, I think, a little more celebratory and less protocol-y than the Game Awards did. So there were certainly a ton of differences. Both events are exciting and so thrilling to be a part of in their own rights, certainly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting about the after party part you mentioned in the Game Awards, because I was going to ask you, at the BAFTAs, Erika Mori looked absolutely gorgeous in her gold dress.
Oh, thank you.
Stole the show, but we have to know something about the after party because we saw a lot of dancing, but did the main man, Web Pickersgill, bust any moves on the dance floor?
He definitely did. And just delightful anecdote that is so very Web Pickersgill that I will share here is so the after party's going. I can't even remember what time it was, maybe 10:30, 11, not that late. And I'm sitting, I think I'm talking with John Zim, one of our writers, and Web comes up and he's like, okay, so I want to go home. But I thought to myself, you got to ask what Erika would do. And so then I just decided I should just go ask Erika what she would do. And so what do you think I should do? And it was so adorable. And I was like, Web, I think that you should stay for one more hour. Just one more hour. Make the rounds again. Say hello to some of the people that maybe you didn't get a chance to meet before. Get on the dance floor. Grab one more drink. And then if after an hour you want to go home, you go home. And he was like, okay. And true to his word, he stayed for an hour and then was like, okay, goodbye. I had a great time. I did all of the things that you told me to do. And now I am ready to go to bed. And I was like, great. I will see you in the morning.
I think everybody can relate to that one. Yeah.
Oh, totally. But I thought it was incredibly endearing that he was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Although I doubt that will be Webb's last time at the BAFTAs. He's too talented to not be invited again. But it was very on brand for Webb to be like, I just want to go home. I want to go to bed. Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah, right. I certainly can't fault him for that. There was definitely a time before the food came out where I was like, I want to go. I'm so hungry. But then food got there, and my FOMO, or my extroversion, like really kicked into high gear. And yeah, I couldn't feel like 3 of my toes because of the shoes that I was wearing and the dancing that was happening for like, I don't know, like a day and a half. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
Sure as well.
Yeah. Alexa, no. Sometimes she just starts talking.
Again, don't we all just start talking out of nowhere?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you're new to the game here, and this is your first nomination within the games industry. Is this your first nomination of any industry, film or music?
Yeah, like for sure. Yeah, 100%, absolutely. This is all like incredibly new to me, and like a lovely little surprise.
Yeah. Well, with that, then, are you starting to feel yet? And this is kind of like a deeper question for you. Yeah. So, since you're more new to this, do you start to feel this sort of divide when you go to these sort of events between being a person, like just being Erika Mori, the person, versus like almost like a commodity for cameras, press people? Do you ever feel that sort of way?
I haven't, but it's interesting that you asked, because I certainly was. I had a lot of anxiety about entering the realm of being a public figure, and I don't have it nearly as intensely as, say, Maggie Robertson. Right. The Life is Strange game and community is much smaller. Like, it's not as it doesn't have the history. It doesn't have the number of games that Resident Evil has. And so, I mean, even in this capacity, I didn't know what to expect, and I was nervous because I am a pretty private person, and I didn't want to lose myself in all of that. And also, I'd grown up dancing and had flirted with the idea of a career as a professional dancer, and I did not. Part of what made me peel away from that pretty abruptly was a dislike of the idea of that commoditization, of being judged immediately upon how I looked, what my face looked like, what my body looked like. And I think that's just part and parcel of what this industry demands. But, when I was 18, that wasn't really something that I was shouldering very well or in a healthy way. And so I just bailed. And so a lot of those insecurities and that trepidation came back when this game was ready to be launched, and as awards season started, and red carpets had to be walked. And I actually used this group of girlfriends that I have here in Denver. I was like, you can just dress me, like I'll be your doll, because I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I think they did a great job. But I've never felt commoditized. I will say that. Good. I have never felt commoditized by this industry. I will say yet. I have a hope that my career is long, and I'm sure I will come across a lot of different types of people and expectations and interactions. But what I do know is I'm not 18 anymore, and I have a much stronger sense of self. I think it was a gift, and probably meant to be, that I did not come to this career, to this industry when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s. I am lucky to have come to this career at all, and then to be here as an adult who knows herself.
Good. Yeah. No, like
go for
it. No, I was going to say, it's like, I recently just watched the HBO Max documentary. I believe it's called Child Star. It's a whole documentary about literally child stars, and it talks about Natalie Portman's career. It talks about Will Wheaton's career, and just the outlandish things these people will do to just children, or even just reviewers. Sure. Yeah, going to children. It's a really insane documentary to watch. But like you were saying, it's kind of almost a blessing to be more mature and more aware of yourself at this age, right? I'm 31, and I feel like I know myself better than I was even at 27. So
sure.
it's one of those things that, like you said, it's almost a blessing for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, I heard this quote. I want to say it's George Clooney said this. I could totally be wrong, but that people, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like people stop maturing at the age that they get famous. And I think that's so interesting, or they're at least arrested in some way. Not that I am famous, right? I'm not George Clooney, but I do think that having a higher level of public scrutiny over your life, your career, the personal choices you make, the way that you vote, the people whom you love, it does something to a person. And I cannot imagine growing up or making the dumb choices that I have made in my past. When social media, with social media being the way it is now, oh
my God. Yeah.
I would be in jail. There's no way I could run for public office. Are you kidding me?
Sure.
And I think
is that confirmation you're running for public office then?
No, well, I still can't.
You get that exclusively? Oh my God, man. Wow. That's so crazy.
No, I still can't do it. Even joining social media as late in the game as I did, it's over for me. But I also think that there are, different personalities who can weather public scrutiny in different and more healthy ways. I, knowing myself, know that it wouldn't have gone super great for me to embark on this career any earlier than I did.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, you wouldn't fool me when you said you're in your 20s, because when I found out how old you were, I was quite shocked, because I expected you to be a lot younger than me.
Yes, that's my party trick.
It's a very good party trick. And on the final part of the awards stuff as well, you did mention it before, Maggie Robertson. I was going to say, what was it? You've shared a very seemingly close relationship with Lady Dimitrescu herself. How have you found her? Is she as tall as she looks in real life?
She really is. I come up to I don't know, mid-rib on her. She's so tall and willowy and graceful. I feel like a goddamn troll next to her. It's almost, I think I likened it to R2-D2 and C-3PO, but it also could be Legolas and Gimli.
Gimli, yes. Gimli.
Yeah. She's so damn tall. And I love Maggie. Alexa, I just need you to chill. Alexa, stop. I'm sorry. Wow, this is.
I hope that Alexa stop command starts working on other people who are listening, and it activates our Alexas.
I have a side note, and then we'll come back to Maggie. But I have one of my friends who lives here. Her name's Katie. We have the same prompt for this large lamp. It's just a lamp in our homes called Large Lamp, and she will call me occasionally, and I'll answer it, and she'll just go, Alexa, turn off the large lamp, and then hang up, and I'll just be plunged into darkness. Yeah, Alexa, stop. Can't. So anyways, as that was definitely tangential. But yes, Maggie is wonderful. She, that relationship, I think the relationships with the other performers, the other devs, honestly, has been such a gift during this entire process. But she and I really bonded because both of us, these games were the first games we've ever made. These award ceremonies are the first award ceremonies we've ever gone to. and both of us felt like we just been thrown into the deep end. Like no one prepares you for this. No one tells you how to interact with fans or, you know, how to interact with gross fans or unruly fans or any of that. And so Square Enix handled the PR for our game. Maggie ended up getting, I think she has PR representation. And you just need help. And I think we were able to be that for each other. And Han was really that for me initially. And he still is to this day. Like, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And he is very much like an older brother and a mentor. And he helps to kind of guide me because he also knows what I care about and what my ethos is in terms of the work. And a big part of that is who I work with is really important. I think that's part of me going through kind of my formative career years in corporate America, which is no less brutal than the entertainment industry, and coming to a point where I want to protect this part of my life. I want it to still be fun, even though I know it's a job, and I don't want to work with assholes if I don't have to.
Sure.
And so
wait, why are you on this podcast then?
Well, I'd never met you before, Adam, so I didn't know.
Hey. You're going to be a big punch. He's going to be a big punching bag for this.
That was an underhand toss, man.
You sure you're not from the East Coast? I swear you won't.
You think that I was going to step on Adnan for that? Absolutely not. I've never.
I'm with Erika on this.
Yeah,
I know. I feel outnumbered here, man.
Sorry, man.
That's where we're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But no, like that's the thing. Like, and not only with you, like coming in this industry as you're older. I don't want to say like as an older person because
as an elder statesman.
But even your time in corporate can like really get you through this sort of business because again. Corporate America, like I work in the food industry, that's brutal in terms of like getting burned, cut, and all that. On the outside, corporate world, they're getting burned and cut directly on the inside with your career. Everything's going to cut you down. So that could have prepared you for this too, you know, like not working with assholes. Like it's just a whole life spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, you're going to always encounter people that you don't get on with or you don't see eye to eye or who don't communicate in the same way that you do or that you want them to. I think the hardest part of any job anywhere is dealing with people, dealing with the people that you work with. But I think who you surround yourself in terms of your intimate, tight-knit group, the people that you can trust to be like, that take was so bad, you should be ashamed of yourself and not show anyone. Like you need people that you trust and who are aligned with, you know, your values and in the work and oftentimes your personal life too. And I think Han is one of those people, Katie, Maggie, you know, a lot of people who I have met on this journey have been some of the best people.
So again, I don't want to take any questions away from Adnan, but I have another question.
Yeah.
Just shut him down. Just say no.
Just say
Don't
no.
allow any questions.
Well, too bad. So you keep, and I'm not trying to say like you're name dropping, but like you're naming like really significant people like that are in this industry, like Webb. You're saying Han is the, Maggie, of course. So my question is, have you been starstruck yet? Have you met somebody that in this line of work you've been just starstruck? Who was it?
Yes, Jennifer Hale.
What? Oh yeah.
Could not believe that our names were even close to each other's.
Right.
The fact that, because I don't know much about this industry, I'm still learning, but I know who Jennifer fucking Hale is.
Right.
And she is, I was not cool when I met her.
Dang.
I was not cool when I met her, and she could not have been kinder, more, inclusive. She never held herself over anyone. Even though she's Jennifer fucking Hale.
Right.
And she's a legend. She is a legend. And was just so kind and, again, down to earth. So, but yeah, I definitely lost my shit there. That wasn't, oh my God. And I met Ed Boon, who was one of the creators of Mortal Kombat. I met him at the DICE Awards, and I think I was even
my God.
more uncool.
Yeah.
I've never been.
Erika loves Mortal Kombat.
I was about to say, he's all the way Mortal Kombat 1 to now.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he got this Lifetime Achievement Award. And I was basically there pawing at the chair, the upholstery, being I have to meet this man, but can I meet this man? Oh my God. Right. How does my hair look? And it didn't look good, but I still got to meet him anyways. And he's so quiet and unassuming. It was probably
He seems that, yeah.
This girl is probably on a lot of cocaine. I was on zero cocaine. And I was just very, very excited to meet this man who helped create core memories between my dad and I. I grew up, my dad and I played Mortal Kombat. We went to see the movies. We listened to the soundtrack as we would drive to the reservoir to go fishing.
That's awesome.
That was a big night for me.
It would be a big night for me too. Oh my God, that's crazy. But he really does seem like a super, not solemn, but just a very quiet guy, very collected, sort of gentleman. So that's good to hear. Yeah. That's the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. Good. That's awesome.
What a time.
What a time. So I want to move away from the Game Awards, away from the award ceremony stuff, because we have to obviously address Life is Strange, but we're not going to be repeating a lot of the stuff we talked about on Life After Strange. People can go and check that out. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, which was really interesting because I was on one of the Streamlies that you did, and this is when Erika Mori got on her soapbox and talked about her heritage, which was something I didn't want to approach in the first Life After Strange, but I was like, now I feel now it's time to address it, because I think it was really interesting when you said that you were half Japanese, quarter Chinese, and a quarter Caucasian, and between me and you, we represent half of Asia right now.
Yes!
So,
I'll just leave the room. Sorry.
Yeah.
You got to get out of this one now. But I kind of wanted to start with that point first, because I wanted to know, how does it feel now? Obviously, we're almost coming up to 1 year since True Colors came out. But how does it feel knowing that Alex Chen is a iconic character for so many Asian people, from both adults to children, and that you were able to play that character?
It is incredibly humbling, and it's an honor. It really is, because I've spoken of this before, but I have lived how important representation is in media. This was well into my early adulthood, where there was a part of me where I wanted to have blonde hair and blue eyes, because that's what I thought beauty was. That's what I thought was beautiful. That's what I thought was successful, right? And of course I was able to find myself or different parts of myself in a variety of characters growing up. But yeah, I remember watching the Olympics when Christy Yamaguchi was in it with my mom. And it was just constantly a source of pride and inspiration and conversation within the family, within our extended family. And I'll never forget it. And so to be a part of bringing representation for the Asian community, Asian American community, the queer community forward, I think is something I don't take lightly. I didn't take it lightly when we were approaching the creation of this character, and I certainly don't take it lightly now moving forward as, representative, whether I like it or not, of this kind of diversity in the medium.
Yeah.
Sticking on that, and you mentioned it there, which is quite interesting about wanting to have blue eyes and blonde hair. I was going to ask you, like, you know, growing up, did it ever bother you, the lack of diversity, diverse characters? Like, for me growing up, like, I always used to think, like, watching certain films, I watched a lot of films, TV shows, video games, played them. I used to watch them thinking, like, why is no brown person ever in love with a white person? Is this like an alien concept?
Sorry about that for all my people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is why you're here. The punching bag continues.
You don't need to apologize for this.
But did it ever bother you, like, because you have both Japanese, Chinese heritage, like that there weren't that many prevalent characters, especially as you were, you know, living in Hawaii, you were consuming American television, American culture. It wasn't as prevalent. And did it ever kind of bother you as a kid?
You know, I don't, if it bothered me, I don't remember it stopping me from engaging in stories. And I was born in Hawaii. That's where my mom's side of the family is, but we moved to Colorado when I was young. And so I pretty much lived in Colorado until I went to college, until I went off to LA. And it's even whiter here.
In Colorado?
And,
Yeah.
And I've always been a huge reader. And I think I enjoy that medium so much because, sure, certain characters can be described in a certain physical way, but it's easier for me to dump that out of my head and instead build the character as I want them to be or as I imagine them to be. And I wonder, I have no data to back this up, but I wonder if how I was able to get through the fact that nobody looked like me. None of the protagonists, none of the ingenues, none of the love interests, none of the heroes looked like me, was the fact that I was able to say, okay, they might not look like me, but I felt like that, or I want to be brave like that, or I want somebody to love me like that, or I want to love somebody that deeply, and attaching to the emotions of their story, or attaching to their lived experience that surprisingly would mirror my own. And I definitely thought about this a lot with Alex, where I knew how important her being Asian American and queer would be. But I didn't want those to be like the only defining characteristics of her. What I think really beautifully rendered, fully three-dimensional characters share is that it's not about what they look like. That's the most important. The thing that people can find in those characters are like compassion, empathy, the way that they love, the way that they hate, the way that they interact with the world in a genuine and vulnerable way. Those are the things that are compelling. And it, of course it helps when you're like, and she likes girls, or just like me, or she is a melting pot of different ethnicities, and maybe she doesn't fit in, certain communities neatly. Like I don't, like, there have been times in my life where I have been very aware of how not white enough I am, or not Japanese enough, or not Chinese enough, or just not Asian enough. And, I had a whole toolbox of ways to cope with that, some healthy, most unhealthy, that, you unpack for your entire life. But I definitely think that the push to get more obvious diversity in front of viewers, in front of consumers, is not the wrong way to go. Saying that, I certainly hope that we don't stop telling a diversity of stories. I'm still interested in like Nancy Drew. I'm still interested in Jane Austen. I'm still interested in some of these other stories that are perhaps more classical or more traditional. I guess I don't want us to like swing the other way and start telling new stories and stop telling other people's stories, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it does. And that's the thing. The one thing I kept thinking about as you were discussing is that just telling a character story, regardless of race, sexual orientation, or anything. The one thing I think about is just like the main, and I don't mean to make this like a political thing. The only movies I can think of with like a mainstream like Asian cast, right? It's not like set in America. It's not just like has to be a normal American. It has to be like, for example, Shang-Chi has to be completely in China. Mulan, completely in China. Crouching Tiger, like if it seems like writers want to be like, oh, if it's going to be Asian, then it has to be Asian. Can't be just a regular person in America. Whereas for white people, it's like, oh yeah, just some guy in New York, hanging out in the coffee house with 5 of his other friends. They live in New York, but I don't mean to point fingers, but it's just wild to me that like if it's it's not just the Asian community, it's also the Black community too. Like with a lot of superheroes being white, and then the one we got, Black Panther, it was completely in Africa, which is a good thing to see that ethnicity. But why can't we have it just like Iron Man, who's just a guy who built a suit? Why can't it be also an Asian person, a Black person, like anybody else? It just has to be a white guy. But I don't mean to make it a thing. It is what it is. But like, do you ever think about that too, or it's kind of just out the open? Look at what you're saying.
I haven't wrestled with that direct question head on before. What? I
don't mean to put you on the spot, like at all.
No. This is great. I enjoy this type of conversation. What I think is that change takes time.
Yeah.
And there are moments where I am completely impatient to see the type of change in politics or in media that I want to see, because I want to see it right now. And God damn it, why isn't that world, that reality realized yet? And also I can't control most of it. Yeah. Maybe any of it. But I do vote. Yes. That being said, I think that the way that I get through it and I kind of stay out of a victim headspace is to really seek out and appreciate and get curious about the changes that are coming, the changes that people are trying to bring. And I also think it's really important that we allow people to not get it right immediately. Sure. Yeah. I got on Twitter at the beginning of last year. I forget when Katie made me get on Twitter, but I haven't been on Twitter very long. Right. And it can be a brutal place. I think that, one false move or saying one wrong thing can really F people up. Like Constance Wu, for example, just came back into like the social and public sphere after admitting to taking several years off because she had tweeted something and it wasn't great.
She was about heart. I'm thinking the right person with Fresh Off the Boat. Yes.
being renewed, fresh off the boat, being renewed for a 5th season, and she was frustrated about that, or she wasn't pumped about it, and I guess she just got eviscerated, and it really impacted her mental health.
Yeah, because all these Twitter replies were saying like, "Oh, you should be grateful you had a job," but they were completely missing the point of what she was saying. It's like, this is a false representation of the Asian culture. It's just stereotypical, but people are just like, "Oh, you should be more grateful that you have a job." It's like, you missed the point.
Yeah, I think it can be really, really brutal out there, and for everyone, for people of color, for people who are neurodivergent, for the LGBTQA community, and I hope this, because I make a lot of mistakes and I fuck up, and that's literally the only way that I learn. And when I think about the progression of diversity in media, which is where we started, I know we've kind of spiraled off into a couple different directions, but diversity and representation in media, specifically in games, I think that there are wins to be celebrated. I think that it's going to take time when you think about the business of games, when you think about the commoditization of these games and how they get made and the decisions that go behind that. It is shocking that any game gets launched. Like, there were so many fail moments for True Colors that I was privy to. I'm sure there were a million that I wasn't. And so for a game like True Colors, which has one gun, but is it's not a shooter game. There aren't like these crazy rendered monsters. There aren't these like really elaborate gameplay fight sequences. It's not super open world, but it is about an Asian American woman trying to find community and trying to find herself. That something like that was made, was delivered to the public, was played, was loved, was recognized by things like the BAFTAs and the Game Awards is an enormous win. It's an enormous win. Is it a perfect game? No, of course not. Of course it's not a perfect game.
I think it is, but yeah.
Oh, thanks. But I think that there's so much to celebrate in just the very fact that it's out there. And when I get letters or DMs, messages from kids, Asian American kids, Asian kids, kids who don't see themselves in the media that they consume, reach out to me and say, I cannot tell you how important it was to see Alex, to be able to play as Alex, and then to know that she was voiced and acted by you. Like it resonates so deeply with me. It really, really does. Like it's not something that I expected. But it is something that I take so seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to follow on that, Erika, and we're not taking a dig at Deck 9 or True Colors or anything, but I kind of wanted to ask in terms of your own experiences, culture, did you wish that there was like a certain maybe cultural aspect or certain Asian American upbringing experience that you had that we could have seen in the Chen family that we didn't see, like anything from your own kind of personal family experience of, from those kind of cultures that we didn't see or we did see? And for example, I'm alien to seeing it because I'm not from that background.
I think that what I loved about the Chen family and Alex was that they broke the model minority role, the model minority stereotype that Asian Americans tend to inhabit in the U.S., in other Western places. And I think that was like fairly subtle for doing it. There isn't. Of course, I wish we had more time with Alex and Gabe. I think the dynamic within a family of the older sibling and the younger sibling, the difference between being male and female. In my own family, that relationship is reversed. I'm the eldest and I'm a daughter, which is a different experience than Gabe as the eldest son. And so, I mean, I'm sure that there was stuff there to mine, but not in, I don't think that we missed anything. There wasn't anything that I felt like, oh shoot, I wish that we had gotten this part of the storyline in there.
Yeah.
What excites me is that there is so much more to all of their stories, that if Square Enix decided that they wanted to pull that into future games, they could, because it is there. And it's not pretend, you know. It's not painted with broad strokes. Like if they wanted to dig deep, I know that narrative at Deck 9 has that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And to stick on one more point, I feel like I'm digging into this, but I want to dig into one more thing with you.
This is great.
No, this is an important topic.
I've never had this conversation in an interview before.
Well, welcome to StrangeCast.
So, you know, like I'm a student of history. Like I spent a lot of my life learning history, and you know, we have, for example, Grandma Mori, who I'm really glad that is well, and you know, many more years for her to spend with you guys. But what I wanted to know was, because obviously, you know, I know kind of like the massive history between China and Japan. There's a big difference of it. And like from my own experience, like, you know, my grandma lived with us for many years. And like, you know, she was a woman who saw the Second World War. She saw the partition of India. She saw 2 Indo-Pakistan wars before she came and lived in England. So like I got really cultural experience from her when she was telling me things. I think like one of them, for example, was like, when they were leaving India to go to Pakistan, their train was attacked by Indian militants. She was only like a very young girl, and they managed to escape. Well, these Indian militants were trying to kill them. But like when I was doing a 10-week placement in my undergraduate, like I was teaching history with some of the kids, and they were doing the partition. They were doing India up to independence, but they stopped at the independence, and they didn't look at, you know, how the fact that we have a separate Hindu and Islamic state that were born, the biggest forced migration in history, how many people died, the British responsibility of not looking after that. But that's where I'm kind of getting at with you. It's like, you know, you have this massive history for you, both Japan and China. You have family experiences that you can tap in who will teach you things that other people can't teach you. But what was it like? Did you ever sit down with them and learn more kind of about your history? And then also, how different was that from the school history you were taught?
Oh gosh.
Good question.
Massively different from the school history I was taught. For high school, I went to a college prep school, and there was even less diversity there than Alexa. Oh my God, stop. I'm just gonna unplug her. She's being a real hoe right now.
She's being a hoe.
In the deepest topic, Alexa is being a hoe.
Yeah. Where were we? So now Alexa, one of the Alexas has been unplugged.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so I went to a college prep school, very low diversity there. Very low. I mean, so low that it was always a joke. Like you had to make it a joke or you would cry about it. But I loved my education. I loved my experience at my school. And on both sides of the family, so my mom's side and my dad's side of the family, very different experiences. My father he grew up in like Southern California, Long Beach area. He's half Japanese, half Caucasian. And that side of the family was interned. My mom's side of the family from Hawaii, half Japanese, half Chinese, were not. But I do frequently get the question, especially when I travel and people learn what my ethnic breakdown is, like, what do you mean you are Japanese and Chinese? Yeah. And it was never surprising to me because Hawaii is such a melting pot, such a diversity, especially of Asian races, that it is more uncommon to find someone who is purely Japanese or, purely Samoan, purely Hawaiian. Like it's a melting pot. There are just so many different stories and different ways that I could go here. On my dad's side, I think that was where like some of the ugliest racism came from. That's not to say that like racism doesn't exist in Hawaii. It kind of reminds me of South Park, if y'all are familiar with that, where everyone is fair game. Everyone is fair game. Like all races are fair game. Your own race, fair game. And so like it's more like the jokes over there. I think I learned like just a more lighthearted way of going about everyone's differences there. It's why like I really, really bump like my experiences with racism are not just like a white thing. And I remember I used to follow Brene Brown on Instagram until she posted something and responded to some woman asking a question of like, hey, white people need to atone for racism because racism is a white thing. And I was like, that has got to be the most fucking ignorant thing I have ever heard in my entire life, even within this country. Because it's very, very much not.
I grew up in a Asian. It was more of like a Chinese district of Philadelphia. So I had dim sum shops and all these different Asian-owned places. And white people are very racist, yes. But try going into a dim sum place as a white person and just like see the looks and see the like what you need. Like, oh, you need a fork, yeah? I'm like, all right.
You know what? Sometimes I need a fork. I use hashi to just slow me down as I eat. Like that's the benefit of using chopsticks.
You know what's funny is that in the same family, like my best friend is his family is from China. And the way I use chopsticks, his mom will always get on his ass. Like, why can't you use chopsticks like Adam? Why can't you do that?
Oh, what a sick burn. That sounds about right.
I felt honored, but he was just like, God dang it.
God damn it.
I was like, oh, thank you.
My grandma, my mom's mom, we all use chopsticks incorrectly according to her, but my mom also has like she gives zero fucks. She'll go to, like, we're in Hawaii, we'll go to like a traditional Japanese restaurant and she'll just look the waiter dead in the eye and be like, can you get me a fork?
Cool. Dang.
Yeah Heidi Mori, zero fucks. She just doesn't care. But back to your question, sort of how was my education, sort of my familial education, different from what I learned in school? The Japanese internment was I don't know, it wasn't even a full day in high school when we learned about it. And I remember one of my classmates coming up to me because I made it a bigger deal than I think the teacher maybe had thought we were going to, make that part of history or that part of the lesson, and kind of talked about my family's experience and what I knew from what happened to my father's side of the family. And I had a classmate come up to me afterwards and say, like, thanks for doing that. I didn't know. And generational trauma is real. There's a book, it's called like The Things They Carried or Only What They Could Carry. I don't even remember. Actually, I have it up here. My mom gave it to me. It's called Only What We Could Carry.
Yes,
and
I've heard of that,
the Japanese American internment experience. And my mom gave this to me when I was a kid, because it takes you through the entire thing, and I can't get through it, because reading about how you tell the difference between a Japanese person and a Chinese person from an article that was published in the San Francisco Chronicle, like in papers of record. During the time, like it was a fact, like it was news. The freewheeling use of derogatory terms for different races. I mean, it's hard to look at, to consume. And it was definitely like a part of me and my history that I had a really hard time looking at. Even though I wasn't interned, it didn't, directly impact me and my body. It kind of did in a way. And it came out in always making the Asian joke first growing up in like a predominantly white environment, just so that I could own it. It would be I made the joke. So like, it's not funny because you said it at me. It's funny because like I took it back. But even that was like damaging.
So self-deprecating. Yeah,
it was certainly damaging to me over the years. And I made a pretty hard pivot over the last several years where I was like, okay, some of these things aren't okay with me anymore. Like they were definitely a tool that got me through elementary school and middle school and high school and parts of college and then in the working world, like definitely a tool that I used. And it's not, sometimes I'll use it, but much, much less. I have much less of a tolerance for that now. And so I think it's interesting how we all individually come to terms with who we are and the pieces that make us up, the pieces that we can't control. Like we can't control who our parents are and that they fell in love, or our grandparents or our great-grandparents or our great-great-great-great-great-grandparents deciding to come over, to the UK or to California or wherever. And yet they are still a part of us. And it's hard to, I think, get curious about the things that feel so wounding. But I don't know how you heal without doing so.
Yeah. No.
That's really fascinating. So one more topic to address in this, and then we'll move on, and we can get Adam back in as well. I feel like he's feeling a bit isolated here.
It's just interesting because, like I said, when I grew up in, by the way, Casta Gardens, Philadelphia, what's up? If you're out there, comment down below. It was like it was a Chinese district it still is, like it's monopolizing now in a good way. They're actually like curing the neighborhood now. And just I would hear so many racist remarks about Chinese people, especially in my high school. They would call like Asian people fobs, which is fresh off the boat. It's not to say, again, I didn't hear from Asian people. For me, like I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, so stop my accent. Guaylo. They would say, like, constantly guaylo, round eye. Yeah, like that's what they call it. I'm like, all right, chill. But no, I would hear it all the time, like with separate people, and like they're in they live within the Chinese district, and they still were racist with the people that are fixing their neighborhood. And I was like, I hate white people, and I'm white. Like, I'm 100% white, unfortunately. So, but yeah, no, it's heartbreaking.
I hope you don't really feel like that's unfortunate.
Well,
I think that there's
little side story is that I did one of those spit tests, 23andMe, because
yeah.
I was like, okay, like, well, maybe I have something interesting about myself, because I know I'm Ashkenazi, Jewish, Hungarian, and I know that. I was like, oh, what else about me? It came back 99.93% European, and I was like, well, what's the other ones? They're like, oh, we don't know, probably white still. You're just all around white. I'm like, all right. That explains the dance moves. Got it. Heard.
That explains the lip biting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always an answer. It's always in your DNA. It's always in the genes.
I'm like, am I at least Scandinavian? Like, no, sorry, guy, you're just European. I was like, all right, fine, be that way. But
that's interesting too.
It is interesting. I'm not ashamed of my culture, because again, the Hungarian culture is a very mixed and torn apart race. I don't know if my family is a part of it. Most of my family is unfortunately dead, so it doesn't matter. I don't know them, but a part of my people were taken in the Holocaust. People from Hungary were taken into these concentration camps, Ashkenazi Jewish Hungarian. So it's not I'm ashamed of it. I just want something else. Even my wife got Mongolian. I was like, and I know that has to do with Genghis Khan. I know that, but she got Mongolian. I was like, oh, come on, like, you can't have anything. But
come on.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Genghis. Didn't you want my family? Come on, Genghis. But
I mean, he could have. He was like fighting with Germans. At the end of his little
That's
reign.
The thing. It's like, couldn't you get with, you're fighting along with him, maybe, take him back to your tents, have a little fun. It's like, that's legit thing. If you get Mongolian, and that means Genghis Khan got you, and somebody said, like, well, that means, Genghis didn't want to mess with the family. I'm like, I think that just means we're ugly enough that he was like, no, just go home.
What a fun narrative, Adam.
if you've seen my old family photo, I have family photos from Budapest, Hungary. They're bug-eyed people. They are not attractive at all. I'm just like, oh boy. And even my wife saw it. It's like, ooh. It's like, I don't want to say anything. I'm like, go ahead, say it. It's like, what an attractive family you have. I'm like, stop it. They're bug-eyed. So bad.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Adam. If I've learned
anything. Why not? We'll say that. That's what I mean. I'm still interested in this topic because, again, I've only seen it from the outside, but you two are living it. So I can only say, like, I've witnessed it, but you lived it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm.
But Adam, your question, though. Yeah.
Yes, let's finish this off then. So, Erika, obviously, when we did Life After Strange, I always do my very generic of how did you become an actor? But we're going to explore a bit more deeper where it's at. You're a woman from Asian heritage. I'm a man from Asian heritage. You know the stereotypes. Everyone's seen them. They watch Family Guy. They see Japanese, Chinese. What's the first response? Hey, can you be a doctor? Or you're really good at maths. But we have Erika Mori, who is a management consultant, who is an actor, who said that she wanted to be a dancer. These aren't, for me, a lot of what typical Asian roles would consist of. The same with myself, where I am a journalist and my mum will tell people and they look at her like, what? Like, just as a straight up what kind of like thing. So that was kind of what I was asking you. Was there never any expectation as a kid with these kind of like stereotypes? Was there any expectation for you to go into a certain path?
I have wonderful parents and they never said they thought that and they instilled in me that I could do whatever I wanted, right? Any interest that I had when I was a kid, they sacrificed so that I could explore it. Like competitive dance is not cheap, and they sacrificed because I loved it. Where I think the expectations came in, I felt more in college, certainly, where it was, I was interested in being a classics major. I wanted to maybe do creative writing. What about dance? What about theater? But those would not support me or I was told that they wouldn't support me. And I know that my family never said that because they didn't think that I was capable. They said it because they were being realistic and because that is how they were being parents, that they were showing me that they loved me. They wanted me to be successful. And I would love to know your perspective on this, Adnan, because I'm not even convinced now that it's an Asian thing. I think it's like a human thing for parents. Maybe it's a parent thing. Like once you're a parent, you only know one way of being successful or unsuccessful, and it's the ways that you were successful or unsuccessful yourself. Everything else is untested in like an experiential way. And so what I can see that my parents and my family were doing was basically saying, we want you to be taken care of. We don't want you to have to rely on a partner to pay your mortgage. We want you to be able to have financial freedom, to be able to explore the world because you have the means to do so. And the way that we know it works is this way. Go to business school. Is this way. Are you interested in medicine? Is this way. Are you interested in law? Right. Like it was those ways. And yeah, I do think that sort of the stereotype of Asian families pushing some of those vocations, is very real. And I don't know if it's a race thing.
I want to twist it back to what you said earlier. That book you had in your hands, what we could carry. The greatest thing I saw, and I think it is kind of an Asian household sort of demographic, because again, most of my friends were Asian. And whenever a white person says it, right? Whenever white people say like, oh, that won't make you enough money, I think it's more of like white people were always in a kind of a position of power. And that's not like necessarily a thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, white's privilege and all that. No, it's just like in the history books, white people were always in a position of power. So it's kind of like in a dynamic where like, no, this is what we do. But that book in your hand, what we could carry, if you learn the history of Asian culture, if you learn the history, especially of Indian culture and why they went to America because of, I want to make this political, but when they leave China and they leave that communist government and they come to America for a better life, and, they come so that these children can be successful that they never were. So it's just almost like the saying of like, wait, we don't want you to go backwards. The reason why we came here is so that you can be successful, that you can be in power. Whereas with white people, it's just more of like, we're always in power. What are you doing? Like, you're kind of like ruining the show here. That's sort of dynamic that I've seen. But Adam, what is your thoughts?
No, I find it very interesting that you had that experience, Erika. I think it's very reflective of your parents. And it does explain a lot of how you got to where you're at as well, that they were supportive of the decisions you made. So I'm very happy for you for that.
Yeah.
But should we move into another topic?
Sure.
Right. So I'm going to move the miscellaneous one to the side just for time purposes, and we might come back to those. But we're going to address some fan questions because we've got a couple, Erika.
Cool.
For you, and we can go back to a Life is Strange tone a little bit.
Great.
So I'm going to go to Twitter first. The first one was from Blobby. And
Blobby.
The question was, Blobby.
Yeah.
On top of these, Erika, I want you to rate each username 1 to 10 of how cool they are.
Blobby. I mean, I do like that. It's like succinct, but also very funny. I'll give it an 8. Blobby.
And it's with an IE at the end too. Blobby.
Great.
Yeah.
So, question time. Since the release of True Colors, has Erika been recognized by any fans based solely on her voice?
No.
Really?
No. Although a couple fans came to see me in play 14 Funerals that I did at the top of the year. And I think they knew it was me. but hopefully they were able to not just see Alex Chen on stage, because it was not the same character. But no, I haven't been, out and about and somebody is like, Alex? No one.
Yeah. Do you think that like there's a line between the way you talk just normally, like when you're clocked out, and once you go into acting, there's a different, almost an octave in your voice as you get?
It depends on the character.
Sure.
Alex is, if you can imagine it, much less expressive with her voice. Maybe with the volume. I get so loud. I'm a loud person.
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Yeah, I couldn't tell with what your favorite finger is, yeah? Couldn't tell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Blobby's question just got everyone flipped off, so let's move on.
Yeah.
So we're going to Twitter.
Dang.
So we're going to Twitter again. This is from Andrew Montez. That's the name. Yeah. Also very commonly known around these YouTube parts. Question is, Erika, I had a hella great time playing True Colors, and Erika, you did a great job as Alex. My questions are, if you had the opportunity to change anything in the game, how you wanted, what would it be and why? We know Han loves pranking you, lol. If you had the chance, how would you prank him?
I tried to scare him during a take. Like and like Webb and Corwin were in on it, and all I was gonna do was what he does to me, which is like, blah. Like that's all he has to do to me. That's it. It's humiliating.
Wait. How was your setup though? Like, how'd you do it?
It was just in scene. Like we're in a scene, and he'll, and I will, and so I was gonna turn the tables on him,
right?
And I did. And he just kept on going. And I was like,
God,
what the fuck? What the actual fuck? It would have to be something elaborate, and I would have to probably bring in his wife and his daughter into it would have to be elaborate and intricate, and filmed.
Oh my God.
I'm open to suggestions. I send them my way.
It just sounds so sinister. It's like, I would have to bring in his wife and child into this.
Yeah, as bait. And no, as co-conspirators. That's what they would be. Like, absolutely. Right. They have great ideas.
It can't be too dark either. It's just like, man, how do you, because like I know the struggle of like trying to prank a prankster. It's just like they're in the game, like their whole zone is pranks, so you can't even get them. It's crazy. Han
is like a real life whoopee cushion. He is only into pranks.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It would be tough. But I think I can do it.
I believe in you. Yeah. Just bring in his closest family members. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We have the other part of Andrew's question, which was, if you had the opportunity to change anything in the game however way you wanted, what would it be and why?
Oh, God.
Have a StrangeCast cameo. That's how I would change the game.
Man. Oh, this is what it is. So originally, Zach Garris wanted for the Spring Festival, so for episode 3, or 4, episode 4? 3 was the LARP, 4 is the Spring Fest.
Yes. That's right.
Was to have like a choreographed dance scene at the Spring Festival, like Footloose style, where like one person, like that, where the town knows the dance, and it obviously got cut because can you imagine how expensive that would be?
Holy crap!
So it got cut, but like that is devastating to me. I was like ready to throw my hat in the ring to choreograph it. Like I was so in, and it didn't make it. So
we're talking like a whole scene, like with Jed and the cat from the record store.
Yeah, Angry Bald Guy would be there. They would all be there doing
Bald Guy,
like a choreographed dance that the whole town knows, and it would be amazing.
Oh my God! Dang.
Yeah.
That's a
That would have been dumb.
Man.
Yeah.
Come on, Zach. Get on that.
Yeah.
Spend more money,
How could you
Zach.
lose that battle?
Like,
No one could have seen that coming.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame that we didn't see that.
That is
But we'll move on. We'll move on before we keep going at Zach. So, Twitter again. I am Jazz.
Ooh, I am Jazz.
So, I had a blast. So the question was, I had a blast playing as you, Erika. How was your time working with Deck 9 on the game?
It was great. One of the best places I've ever worked. Really inclusive and flexible and kind. I'm still very close friends with a lot of the devs. It's amazing. You know, we have a really good working relationship, and I think they are a company that, you know, I'm not saying that they're doing it perfectly, because no organization is, but they certainly try to do the right thing.
Sure.
At least from my vantage, from what I know. And I really respect the people who work there. I think that they are at the top of their craft and are continuously curious to get better. Which, how can you ask for more?
Yeah, I would say, like, I was going to ask, like, when your time in there, would you say that there are more of a group of people that wants to innovate and build for the future, or is just kind of content of where they are?
No, absolutely not. I felt like every time I went in there, it was a bit like the Wild Wild West, where like animation wanted to try something a little bit different, or I had fresh pages from narrative, or, you know, like they certainly do not rest on their laurels, and they are very creative about solving mocap problems, because nothing in that room is real.
Yeah.
Nothing is real. You're basically in a padded cell using your imagination.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was an extra in Creed, and like in this whole boxing ring, right? But the entire thing is just green screen with just a boxing ring in the middle. So you just had to be like, okay, now the crowd's going wild. You gotta do this, and it's like, oh, really, you gotta burr. But that was only for a week, so I can't even imagine for a few years
Whole
doing
game.
it.
Yeah,
doing a whole game doing it. Yeah, that's crazy.
That was very cool.
That is cool. And we love Deck 9 as well. So let's move into the next question from Anthony from Twitter. It was, Erika, you did an amazing job bringing Alex to life, and I hope to see/hear you in way more games to come. My question is, if you were Alex, would you stay in Haven Springs or leave? Also, did you condemn or forgive Jed?
Okay, well, I'll start with the easy one. Of course, I condemned him. Like, I'm not evolved. I'm not as nice as everyone else who played the game. I feel like I went on this rant during the first interview. It's true, right? Yeah. Because he shoots you.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Was I supposed to say that before? It doesn't matter. He fucking shoots you.
Yeah.
He
shoots you and pushes you
your
off.
Your family's death. Your family's death. You know, just what a chode. You can't. I was unable to do so. I was unable to. We're going to have to cut that, aren't we?
No,
No, we're keeping that in. This I said on Twitter, this is unfiltered.
Word. Holy cow. I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah, well, bring it back into the rotation, because it's a goodie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's who he is. Well, I'm sorry. I saw red and forgot the other part of the question. Oh, would I stay or leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's gotta be hard because you live in Colorado, so it's like, or like you were born, or okay. So what's your story? Hawaii to Colorado.
Hawaii to Colorado.
Adam, where have you been? Where have you been in this podcast? We just spent about 40 minutes talking about Asia.
Well, it's like you went to college in LA, then you went back to Colorado, and now
yeah. So okay, I have traveled a lot, and I will say that recently I have wanted to live in a smaller town and have more intimacy with my community. So at this point in my life, I would stay in Haven. The world will always be there, and that communal intimacy is something that I think is special and to be cultivated.
Yeah. No, I
shout.
stayed, honestly, just being in that mountain town of Colorado. I was like, it's like, oh, would you stay or leave? Why would I leave? Like, why would I, if I have the opportunity to live in, especially in her apartment, like you got that roof.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, I would leave all of this. Of course I would. It's like, God.
Come on, get out of here. Mm-hmm.
Wait, I forget,
Testing.
did you stay or leave in your playthrough?
I left.
Oh, Adnan.
Did you left with Steph?
Yeah.
Or you left with Ryan?
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
We left for Steph.
Yeah.
We're Team Steph in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Erika, a bit more deeper question. Going to Facebook, Reb Swift. Question says, would you forgive Alex's dad for leaving, given the full context at the end of the game? And if Alex had Max's time manipulation power instead of her empath power, what would she have used it for?
Yeah, I would have forgiven Alex's dad. I don't know how you find peace for your own life and with yourself if you carry around bitterness or hatred like at that level. And I will say that forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean like absolving somebody of the choices that they made, right? I think I would, for Alex, I would forgive or seek to forgive as much as possible the sins of the father. And then if I could rewind, time, as much shit as we give Han about, nope, you had to die, Gabe. I would, of course, not want him to go. I think that why that particular death was so eviscerating was because there was so much more for them. That was like right there. After having been separated for so many years, like there was so much healing to be had, that it is devastating to have seen that snatched from both of them.
Yeah, definitely.
That's deep. That's deep.
That has been the theme of this. Like, I mean, going back through this conversation in my head, I'm like, can they post all of this? Like, are we all going to get in trouble?
I love getting in trouble. Philadelphia.
I've always been in trouble as well. So, last fun question, Erika. This is from YouTube. This is from Adam, not this Adam.
Not me.
Adam.
Yeah.
So, question. First of all, I just want to say you are awesome, Erika. You did an absolutely amazing job bringing Alex Chen to life in true colors. Alex is such an amazing character. What did you like most about Alex, and also how did you prepare for the really emotional scenes in the game?
Great question. I love Alex's non-victim mentality. Probably because I know how difficult it is to stay out of that. You know, these things were done to me. This situation is shitty, and woe is me. Like, she doesn't sit there ever. And I think that's incredibly admirable. And it was really good practice. That was definitely in a plethora of admirable traits that Alex possesses. That's one that really stands out to me. And then what was the second part of the question?
How did you prepare for the really emotional scenes in the game?
I obviously read the script. And I think like the big emotional scenes were the ones that I had the most questions with the writers about. So I engaged with narrative. the most around those, usually day of, because I would come in and I would have an idea of at least like general beats that were important. But sometimes it was a lot of horse trading with narrative and with Garrus, because he had something very specific, or like a specific direction that he wanted a particularly emotive scene to go. A lot of times, I mean, the writing was quite good in this game. Yeah. I wouldn't have to like psych myself up or prepare for example, the scene where Alex shatters the glass in episode 5, and then she turns to Gabe and she's just like, why? Like, why did you make me do this? And it's basically the climax of her self-discovery and self-forgiveness. And the lines were there, right? Like the emotion was there. Han was there. So I know other performers really like, they need quiet. They need to like go to a soft, like a place inside of them to find these emotions. I think by that point, I trusted the narrative team and Webb and Han so much that I was like, let's make like the emotion is here. It's on the page. There are a couple different ways to say it. Let's try it. And it's just there. I think that's really the marriage, the right marriage between narrative and like performance is when, like at that point in the game, narrative knew how to write for me. They knew how to write for Han, and it was not difficult at all. The emotion just came because it was real. Like he was saying real things that resonated with Alex and also like resonated with me as Erika. So I knew where to draw on those emotions that were coming up. Yeah. It was so cool to be able to work with a team like that. I'm really lucky.
That's awesome.
It was some really great Meisner acting. I'll give you that.
Yeah, okay. You know there wasn't. Damn it! Has Webb ever made you do that?
Meisner?
Yeah.
I've asked a lot of people about Meisner now.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people like really like
6 actors on here. Yeah, Steve was not a fan of it either. Jim Hunt was indifferent. Stace liked it. Xenia Scott liked it.
Raider.
Yeah. Danielle Vivaris liked it. So you're
Yeah, but who was the loudest about their opinion? Me! I was! Yeah, and that makes mine the best and most correct opinion.
Oh my god.
It's trash! It sucks so bad!
What specifically do you not like about it?
Oh, here we go.
It can get mean. A lot of it just seems like a waste of time. And it's dumb.
It's mean. It's a waste of time. It's dumb. Put that on a t-shirt. We're good to go.
Yeah, I also like, I hear myself and it's like, maybe you should go to a fucking Meisner class. Thanks for bringing that up, man. You are a friend for life.
Exactly, yeah.
Listen,
it was great Meisner.
I gave you the opportunity to call him an asshole and you didn't take it, okay? So that's on you, Erika.
You've got a couple more opportunities.
Yeah.
So, Erika, we've got a couple of miscellaneous questions here that I just thought of. Just want to throw at you.
Great.
Bit Life is Strange, bit less. So, as a bookworm, what are 3 books that everyone must read and why?
Oh, okay.
And you can use Ernest Hemingway.
And I can what?
One of them has to include an Ernest Hemingway book.
Well, if I only get 3, honestly, I don't think Hemingway would be on that list.
What?
I know.
Don't you have
Yes, my dog is named Hemingway, but he's in the other room right now and he is snoring.
We'll come on to the dog.
Yeah. Okay. 3 books. I think God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy is phenomenal. She is an Indian writer. She used to be I think she still is a journalist. Her language is extraordinary. And she, like, her style is incredibly lush, but she takes her time and she like kind of jumps through time. And she has many different protagonists, but it's like this slow circle towards something terrible, and you don't know what it is, but you know that it's like core and nasty, and then you get there and it is. She has also written the most beautiful love scene that I have ever read in my life. It is, I was weeping like a bucking baby. Oh, so beautiful. So there's that. I would also say A Thousand Autumns of Jacob Tazut by David Mitchell. David Mitchell is one of my all-time favorite authors. He's like kind of magical realism. He just has like a really interesting style and such a command of words. Like he gut hooks you into his stories. Like his characters are so alive, and also in all of his books, they're all connected. So he also wrote Cloud Atlas. He's written Slade House. I'm reading Utopia Avenue right now, which is his newest one. And characters and ideas and themes just flow seamlessly. His brain, I want to open it and look at it. Amazing. Incredible. I love this question. And then, what next? Oh, I think, God, I have so many. Paradise Lost by John Milton. So to get like super classical, blind poet. And it's retelling of the fall. And then in the Garden of Eden, and then how Adam and Eve leave the Garden of Eden. And it is beautiful. It's poetry, yes. It's like it's an epic poem, and it's just some of the most lovely writing. I remember studying it as a teenager, reading it as a kid, and it's so beautiful. And then like what I like about all of these authors, and I'll use John Milton and Paradise Lost as kind of the example, is they're great. Like you get more out of the work when you are well read with other works, right? So if you read T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland or the Canterbury Tales or Dante's Inferno, like you read all of these things and then you come to Paradise Lost and it is more alive for you. You feel rewarded. Because, or you read some of Milton's contemporaries, like you are rewarded for that exploration in the work, and vice versa. Like I love authors who reward their readers for being well read.
Yeah.
So
we should have just done this the whole time.
we could have done, but like my brother will be really happy hearing that you mentioned Paradise Lost, because he did a lot of that at Cambridge. I never heard the end of it, but so with that as well, because I wanted to ask you something, because obviously the first thing I noticed was Adam's reaction when there was no Ernest Hemingway, and we got a dog called Hemi as well. Like, why is Hemingway not in the 3 recommendations?
Because I think my style, the writing that I tends to gravitate towards tends to be more lyrical, and Hemingway is not lyrical. No. Like the reason why the reasons why I love Hemingway are not like well, I mean Hemingway the dog, love of my life, right? Yeah. We have a pact that we are going to die on the exact same day, and so I only have moments, right? So I got to make the most out of this. But yeah, like Hemingway, and my love of Hemingway didn't come easy to me. I thought it was shit when I read it in school, but it was right. It was one of those authors where I don't know if you can tell. I have intense FOMO, and I was like, I'm missing something. Like I'm missing something. If he is one of like the great American writers, right? His work is canonical,
right?
I'm missing something and I have to go find what it is. And I think what it was is that I hadn't read the right book for me. Right. Because you look at an author like Hemingway, you look at an author who has, you know, whose published work spans their life or spans like a majority of their life, and they go through phases. It's like any other artist.
Sure.
And so I just hadn't found the right, like For Whom the Bell Tolls was not for me. Right. That A Farewell to Arms. But Movable Feast, The Sun Also Rises, like those were for me. And those were the vehicles that allowed me to really be able to chew on his style of writing and how I love how he uses the war as a character without really mentioning it in those books. I was just able to appreciate him in a way that I wouldn't if I had only read some of his other books.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Adam, do you have anything to add into this before I throw a completely different curveball and take the conversation into a different direction?
You mean like a question or like a recommended book?
Just in anything.
Oh, I don't have any questions. Like most, I was going to say like me. It seems like my books and your books are like incomplete. It seems like you're more of a novelist. You would get enthralled in the story, and I like going towards Malcolm Gladwell. I'm a big Ryan Holiday fan. I like reading those thoughtful pieces. I'm a big advocate for the 10,000 hour rule that Malcolm Gladwell presents in his book.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, no, it's I'm trying to think of the title. Sorry, again, I just clocked out of work, so I'm just like out of it.
Yeah.
But no
worries.
He is Malcolm Gladwell.
I can Google anything.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's 10,000 hours. It's in his book, Malcolm Gladwell, and I can't think of the title, but you know, he's very to the point. Like, no, this is how it is. He's a very like societal kind of person, but into the minds of society and how we function. Just to give kind of a point of like, no, it's not your fault. Like, here's where the statistics are, and it's never your fault. Even Tipping Point, his other book, like, no, like these people.
I've read that.
Yeah, Tipping Point is one of those things that like no, these people are successful because they had a tipping point in their life. It's not your fault. It's just this is it. And the Ryan Holiday book that I'll recommend is Ego is the Enemy. Oh my God, that's a good passage read because each chapter is maybe like 5 pages, 2-3 pages. So like on the weekends, one month, I just read 2 or 3 chapters and just kind of meditated on it because it takes a very stoic philosophy kind of take on how, again, ego is the enemy and just saying like, ego can help you in some fashions, but and more or less, like ego will hurt you. And this is how to function as a Stoic philosopher to transform your ego into something that is good for the world rather than to destroy it.
He's a philosopher?
Yeah, he's a modern day Stoic. He's like modern. He's today.
Yeah.
He's got a great Twitter account. I always recommend going on Ryan Holiday.
As every good modern day philosopher should have.
A Twitter account, of course.
Yeah.
I'm currently reading Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, so I haven't fully read it, but I mean, I'm a big stan for Ryan Holiday, so whatever he writes, I'm like, yeah, all game.
Yeah. What are you reading, Adnan?
Yeah, what are you reading?
Yeah, what are you reading?
I'm not reading anything at the minute.
So you're open to suggestions.
Yes, I'm open to suggestions.
You're reading the Life is Strange comic series.
That's probably the last thing I actually read. I don't really read. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those, unfortunately. The genes passed on to my brother for reading. I'm not a reader.
Comics are still reading. You know, big author that I'm into is Warren Ellis, who is a huge comic writer. He wrote my favorite comic series in the Iron Man series called Extremis, which is what Iron Man 3 was about. So Iron Man 3 was about the Extremis comic written by Warren Ellis. And Warren really presents this really dark, gritty kind of image, and it works well in comics than it would in a novel. So, no, comics still count as reading. I hate when people say, like, oh, that's not real reading.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
I got exposed to like comics and graphic novels through a partner like many years ago, and I like devoured the Fables series.
Nice.
I've read the first book of Saga. I really love Habibi. Like there are just some really beautiful beautiful graphic novels that, I mean, straight up art. Straight up art.
They change your mentality. Like they really do. Yeah. It's
amazing.
They do. And I'm going to move this conversation into the best direction now. Because obviously, like we said, Erika Mori is not a social media person, but since we've last spoken, we've learned more about Erika Mori. So my next question is, what was Snoop Dogg's reaction to meeting Erika Mori?
Wait. I asked you.
So high.
I was about to say, I asked you how you were starstruck, and Snoop Dogg was not in the mix there. You do Ed Boon. You do.
I did Jennifer Hale. Yeah.
But not Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's like, oh, yeah, he's just some guy.
Well, I mean, it was very exciting. So I danced for USC when I was there, and like it's in the middle of LA, and so there were a lot of celebrities on the sidelines. Like I think I did fangirl at Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell. But yeah, I don't specifically remember that picture. I mean, a lot of times we were just sort of flirted. It was like, girls, we're taking a picture. Girls, we're taking a picture. But yeah, I do remember he was like super high, which I don't think is a surprise to literally anyone.
I mean, he has his own joint whirler. He just follows him around. He's got professional.
But he's also like besties with Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't think Martha Stewart doesn't have a joint roller too? You actually?
I'm sure she does. It's Snoop Dogg. She just calls Snoop over to her house to roll her joint, and then he leaves.
Yeah, that's exactly.
No, I love that. I also love. Did you guys watch? Was the Summer Olympics last year when he and Kevin Hart were commentators for random sports, and it was for dressage. The horse is grip walking. Dying. Yeah, I love Snoop.
Yeah, I thought I need to bring that up, but we're going to go down that road again where it's a bit more Instagram snooping, where Erika was kind of like shocked a lot of people. We saw a picture of Erika Mori as Alex Chen. We saw Anastasia Davidson as Rachel Amber, and then we saw Hemi as Chloe. Give us some context behind this story. Who pitched this? Like when I saw that picture, I was like, wow.
I don't remember who pitched it. I do know that it came about because Stace and we had just closed a two-hander show 14 Funerals, where it was just the two of us. And we were friends before, but now we are best friends. And we were just like, how are we going to deal with not seeing each other every day? And we were like, we should put a cosplay date on the calendar. And she was like, great, I can be Rachel Amber. And I was like, great. I guess I could figure out how to be Alex Chen. I really have to work on I looked like a dance mom. I got to work on the wig work. I probably, yeah, I know. I
didn't say anything.
Yeah. And then I love my dog so much that I was like, I bet Hemi could be in here too. And he had such a bad attitude and also was like not reading the room and was like photobombing stuff. And I was like, let's make Hemi let's make Hemi Chloe. And then he hated that more. And it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah. Oh,
but I will say this, Stace can always find, like, the camera loves her. A ton of pictures taken. She looks amazing in all of them. And then there was me. And I'm still trying to figure out what a good angle is for me and my face. I will tell you that we found a lot of ones that weren't it in that photo shoot. Like, it just, and I started to sweat, and it wasn't good, you guys. It wasn't good.
I thought you looked great.
Thank you. I could do it again, and this time I'll remember my fucking headphones.
Oh my god.
Oh, there was.
Oh yeah.
I also had like the nose ring thing.
Yeah.
There were just magnets. One of them, I was like, did I snort it into my brain? I don't know where it went.
Oh
like,
my
it
God.
must have fallen out, but it's gone, and chances are that I ate it.
Okay.
I ate a magnet.
Erika, you say you and Stace are friends.
Yes.
But has she actually made you any cookies yet? Because we spoke about this 8 months ago, and you said no at that time, and like...
No. So maybe we're not friends.
Oh,
I will bring this up with her immediately. Like, you can't imagine how swiftly this will come to her attention.
That's
and it's
fine.
not
Well,
that she has time. She's like she's performing at Colorado Shakespeare Festival, which is essentially a gig that ruins your life because you never see anyone because you're always in rehearsal or in a show. And so we'll use that as an excuse. But the moment, and yeah, she has like a husband too. She has to like spend time with, but
the nerve.
a likely story.
Well, my plan is to get her on this podcast at some point, so I will ask her about these cookies and why Erika Mori's not had any cookies. So that is one of my objectives this year. So before we finish the miscellaneous stuff, there's one question in there, and then a very surprising section, which I think you'll like.
Okay, cool.
Because we're coming up to 2 hours, so I kind of don't want to take too much of your time. So this question
is so
it's about... Well, that's reassuring. Hemi. Did you consider any other names for Hemi before Hemi was called Hemi?
Yeah.
Yes. Wait, what? Big question. Adopted or shopped?
Adopted.
Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. He's like a super mutt, like a shepherd mix. And I got him, I had just gone through a breakup where my partner had taken the dog that we had gotten together. Actually, yeah. So and I was, very, very sad. And so I adopted Hemi at like this big adoption event on the 23rd of December. So you can imagine what a shit show that particular Petco was. I mean, it was chaos. Like they had everybody behind like a gate. Like we were in a pen as well. And so I like clocked him. He was the only one left in his little pen. And so my name was called and I grabbed him, and they said he was a girl. And I didn't check. It was labeled. It said female. And I was looking for a girl dog. I was looking for a little bitch. And so I was like holding him and he's so cute. And there was like another little dog that I was looking at, but then Hemi peed on me and I was like, it's this one. So I thought Hemi was a girl.
Oh. For
over 24 hours, like way too long.
Okay.
I gave him a bath and everything, but I thought that this little...
I thought you were saying like for about a week, I thought he was a girl.
No, it was like, I think it was a couple days. And I thought it was, you know how when newborn human babies, like they come home and they have that like gross umbilical cord left over on their belly button.
Sure.
That's what I thought it was.
Oh my God.
Because I'm not a veterinarian. So yeah, I thought his dick was gonna fall off as like a part of nature. It was just like part of the umbilical cord.
I know this podcast is going all off the road, but like, did the two balls not give it away, Erika? Like, I just have to be upfront about this.
They haven't like dropped yet. They weren't like there. He was just a baby. Just so small. It was so small with his little dick. And so, yeah, I thought his wang was his umbilical cord belly button, which I guess dogs don't have. And it wasn't until I had my friends Ari and Katie came over to like meet the new puppy, and we're all playing with it. And my friend Katie was like, finally, 20 minutes they've been there. Like, and we're trying to come up with names and like, what do we think about like Beatrice? What do we think about, and she's like, I think this is a penis. I was like, what? No, that's not a penis. That's not a penis. That's a belly button. And she was like, are you sure?
Oh,
like,
no.
and I was like, yeah, and he squats when he pees. And she's like, Erika, all dogs do that. Like, boy dogs don't learn to lift their legs until this is a dick. And so that is how, and my friend Ari was like, yeah, I didn't know how I was going to tell you that your girl dog has a penis.
Yeah.
And so that's how I learned that Hemi was not a girl.
Oh my God.
And so then we very quickly switched names, but I think Hemi was actually still on the list even when I thought he was a girl.
Oh my God. Jill.
I'm lost for words right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm sure that this does not reflect well on my ability to identify a penis, but I assure you that I can. Okay.
But no, it makes sense that like in an adoption agency, it was labeled a girl. Like my dog is half Chihuahua, half Corgi, but on the label it was half, I think, pug and half Chihuahua. And then we go to meet him. I'm like, that's not a pug. That's straight up not a pug. I'm like, what is, like, that's not a pug. And they're just like, oh yeah,
anything but.
And then they'll like blame me. It's like, we never label it as a pug. I'm like, you straight up did it on your website. It's like, I love them either way, but it's like, yeah, they'll mislabel it all the time.
But that's how I knew it was meant to be, because I had only grown up with female dogs,
right?
And I didn't want like a boy dog because I was worried it was going to be like aggressive and blah, blah, blah. And he's just so chill. He wants to do whatever I want to do. And yeah, he's also, I thought he was going to be like 50 pounds because his mother was there.
Yeah.
Also up for adoption. And I was like, oh, that's an appropriate size. And he's like pushing 80.
Oh my God.
He's fucking huge. And so when I work out, I strength train, and the only thing I've told my trainer is like, I need to be able to lift 80 pounds of dead weight from the ground up. Like that is the that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because if my baby goes down, I have to be able to save him.
Yeah.
So that's always in my mind.
Oh my God. My wife has the same pact as you do with our dogs. Like, no. It's like she'll always go like, you're gonna live forever. Just remember that. Like he's napping, and it's like, no, you're living forever. Just remember that.
Don't die.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time, every day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm really manifesting that.
Yeah. Basically. Oh my God.
They're awesome.
God damn. This has been one of those fascinating things.
Yeah, that
right?
went
I did
off
not.
the rails. Yeah, you are so welcome. Please invite me back.
We are. Of course, you're always welcome back on that. There's a lot of testicles. Never seen so many testicles mentioned on podcasts, but Adam, have you got anything else to add before I throw this little nice curve here?
Have the testicles dropped?
Oh yeah, and then I took them. Well, I didn't take them. Yeah, you can't have him like swinging around like a pendulum. Jesus, he's not a goddamn grandfather clock. No, sir.
Like, how do you tell the time then?
I don't. Okay, you were lucky that I got here on time. Okay.
So the testicles have dropped, but you took them.
Yeah. We waited. Although I hear now, like, you're supposed to wait to fix the dogs, especially if they're larger, like as long as you can, because the sex hormones help with their like development and their joints and blah blah blah. And so he was
I don't know, because my dog was
around those hacky sacks for a while.
Because my dog was a rescue from Hurricane Harvey in Texas. Like he was a stray. And when we read on the report that like they rescued him, he still had his balls, and they rescued him, and then they fixed him. I'm like, you rescued him from like his photo is just like him in like the mud and just like soaking wet, like in a mud river.
Oh my god, he was and with Sarah McLachlan singing over it in the arms of the angel. I knew it.
He's still pathetic. He is so. Like, we give him all the blankets in the world, and he still looks like the saddest dog in the world. I'm like, stop. We give him
because you haven't given him bacon.
Yeah,
you are a monster, Adam. Get out of here.
He is a monster.
But, like, I'm just imagining they rescue this dog from the rivers, like, and, like, the horrors that he's seen, and it's like, take his balls.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what we can do? You are not traumatized enough.
Snip him. Get him off.
Snip him. Get him out there.
But yeah, no, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm going to move this conversation away from dogs, balls, and penises. I'm going to go to the final section.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, so I mentioned him at the beginning, which was Han Soto. So for transparency, I've been trying to get Han Soto on Life After Strange for a while. And we've been speaking since April, but our schedules haven't aligned yet. He's not responded to some of my messages, but I actually did a lot of his questions, Erika. And if you remember our interview, we did a lightning round at the end, and I've done one for Han here.
Okay.
But it was a bit of a twist. So instead, it was going to be the first ever Han Soto versus Erika Mori lightning round. But because you're here, I'm going to give you the chance to answer his questions first.
Perfect.
And this is in a bid to entice him out and come on my show. Which
Oh yeah. We're gonna get him.
Yeah, we're going to get him. So, Erika Mori, there are 10 scenarios here. I want to know who's better, Han Soto or Erika Mori. So, are you ready?
I thought that was a question. I was like, it's Erika.
Well, we can count at 11. That's the first one, right? So, we kick things off with, who is the fastest typer?
Erika Mori.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I've seen you push 160 words per minute on Han's TikTok.
Dang.
Are you
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Who...
I was in computer class. I took that very seriously.
Fair enough. So, we're moving on. Who is the better driver? Granted, we did see Han join a Streamily during driving, so we do have to take that into consideration, because that is very... You yelled at a lot of that during that.
Yeah.
Really?
I do think it's Han, because Han has driven a lot of different vehicles. He has like a camper van, and he like four wheels, and he probably likes riding bikes. Like I'll give that one to Han.
Okay, Han Soto's 1-1. Who wins in a dance-off?
Well, when? Because I just had knee surgery, but normally me.
Dang.
What's the song? Go on. What are you beating him to in this dance-off?
Any song. Are you serious? Song. Any song. Are you kidding me? Yeah, okay. He would probably need a specific song.
Yeah.
Name.
Master of Puppets by Metallica. That's going to be the song. That you dance off to.
I would throw down "Call Me Maybe" by Carly Rae Jepsen, because I know I would hate it.
Nice.
Very nice. So, 2 out of 3 game of foosball. Who comes out on top?
Me.
Oh, that was
in all 3 games.
Best of 3. Yeah.
Okay. You'll give him 1. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Give him a little confidence booster, it's like let him win a few. Like, yeah, come on, Han, you got this. Yeah. Hustle him a little bit,
Fair enough. So, if you're both left stranded on an island, who is most likely to find an escape route off said island? And you can't team up. There's no Chen sibling bonding. It's 1-on-1. Survival of the fittest. Yeah.
I'm giving this to Erika without her answering.
Yeah, I think I would be, because I can't cook. I think I would be the most motivated to find a way off. And I also think that Han would really love to be on a desert island, just chillaxing.
Yeah,
He'd
that's
find, he would thrive.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Like, have you ever seen that show Alone on Netflix? Yes. I feel like Han would get really into it about like building a shelter and like finding food, and he'd do great.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Erika and Han are drinking at the Black Lantern. Who walks out on their feet?
Me. Serious? Now, yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was with him in London for sure.
Oh wow. He seems like a guy who, and again, I've only like seen him a couple times. He seems like a guy who gets too goofy too quick. Like he gets too cocky.
So goofy. Yeah. There is a video, like we were waiting. It was like us plus some square people. I think Mags was with us. Katie was there, and he like French braided my hair while we were waiting for an Uber. Like he's so random, but I don't think he remembers it.
That's the thing. I think
he remembers it.
He's a lot like me, where I get too cocky with the drinks. I'm just here for a good time. But there's some people who are just like, I'm here for the game, you know. But for me, I'm here for the goofy.
Bold statement that you could outdrink him, Erika Mori.
No, it's not about out drinking. It's about knowing thyself. All you said was who walks out.
Yeah. Drop him with some philosophy.
I will also say that it would be neck and neck.
Yeah.
Because I am also like, this is so fun. I can absolutely drink as much as any of you.
Yeah.
Am I the same size as you? No.
Yeah, here's
absolutely
the thing.
Not.
He'll get too goofy too quick. You're one that strikes me that will get too loud too quick. Like you will put up a challenge too quickly.
Yeah, I'm incredibly competitive. Like I don't like to back down.
Yeah, like he's just here for the good time. You're here for the game, and you're here for
the game. Yeah, I'm here for the win. That's right. That's correct.
Right. Battle of the Minds. Chess match. Who wins?
Well, once I relearn how to play chess, I would.
Oh.
Wow. Throwing down the gauntlet there. Right, we'll give that one to Han Soto then. Give him that one.
What? Oh, is it just because I don't remember how...
No.
Like, I watched the Queen's Gambit.
You said you had to relearn it. We're talking about now, like, you know, if it's chess match you and Han are playing, you're going to lose.
Well,
you said you need to relearn it.
In like the time it takes for him to respond to your challenge.
I think...
I can learn how to beat him in chess.
I think Han would win, though, because you're more of a strategist, and Han is more of like, he'll get in your head too much. So he'll take advantage of that.
Wow. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'll let you respond to that.
I would say you're more of a strategist, and that would be how you beat him. But then he knows you too well. He'll get in your head, and he'll take advantage of that. Yeah.
He would. Because he can, like, rile me up real fast.
Exactly. And then you'll make a move you didn't mean to make, and he'll be like, in for the swips. Not saying that you wouldn't be capable, Erika. I'm just saying it's like he would know you too well. Yeah. Now, if it was me and you doing a chess match, you would beat me. You would put me under the table. But he knows.
Okay, yeah, we can give that one to Han. The driving in that one, but that is it.
Right. 1v1 fight on Mortal Kombat. Who wins?
Erika.
You know it's me.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Yeah. Okay. And he knows it too.
Ed Boon, so like he
knows it too. I can't disappoint Ed. We're best friends now. Bosom buddies. Yeah, that was a little offensive. That one, that question, because I think that felt more rhetorical than all the others.
Oh, damn. You never know. You might be pretty skilled at it.
We just learned
Sorry,
that
Adam's
like
rubbed off
a
on me.
super competitive
My God.
person. Meets Ed Boon, has seen all the movies and played with her dad, and you're just like, oh, I don't know. Like, I think he wouldn't play a match.
I am gonna find my Sega and practice. Han has no idea that this is coming.
Can we Twitch stream this? Can we Twitch stream
Oh
that?
my god. We sell tickets. Box office.
The match of the century.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah. Put it up for charity? Yeah. This could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. But
okay. It's Erika Mori. I'm not going to debate this. Erika Mori wins
I
that, right?
wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah.
Erika Mori wins. I'm not
you.
going to fight that.
Fatality.
Right.
Yeah.
Fatality. Flawless victory. So, last but not least, a rap battle. Who wins?
Han.
That's Han.
Oh
Yeah. Like, hands down. Hands down. I can't imagine a venue where he's more suited for victory.
Because he can think on his feet real quick, from what I'm gathering.
Oh yeah. And he's a smart ass. So it will serve him well.
Yeah.
God, I love that guy so much.
Right. So that's all Han's questions, and hopefully we get Han on to answer them.
I was about to say, now I want to get him on just to like get his take. He needs to.
You know what? I guarantee you, he's just all of them. He's going to choose himself as the winner.
Well, we'll find out when we get.
Yeah,
we'll find out when we get Life After Strange done, Han. We'll find out.
Right.
So we are at the end here, Erika. Thank you so much. You have been doing a lot of stream leads lately. Are you doing any more?
No, one more with Katie on Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
This podcast is going out after that.
Yeah. So no,
you guys can check.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything else planned.
dang.
Will there be more in the future?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure. I learned yesterday during our signing that I had sent Katie. I think I said this. I had sent Katie a couple that I hadn't signed, that I'd forgotten to sign. So I don't think that I deserve to be on Streamily. I think I've proven myself unreliable in just the basic requirements of Streamily. So, also, it totally shocks me that anybody wants my autograph, and I'm like, maybe I should have practiced my autograph because it looks like this face.
Oh,
That's
no.
what it looks like. That's what my autograph looks like.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, Erika, thank you very much for coming on for this incredible chat. We're going to jump back to our... No, absolutely. It's a pleasure. And we're going to jump to our outro where me and Adam will finish this podcast off. Guys, I hope you enjoyed watching Erika talk about many, many things, unfiltered, raw, uncut. So, guys, we'll be jumping back to the outro now.
Peace.
Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Erika Mori. I was meant to have Adam at this point, but we had some tech issues with our old recording, and he wasn't able to make the outro segment that I'm going to re-record. So I just wanted to put this in because it's a bit more clear in audio. But I hope you enjoyed our interview with Erika Mori, and this is just to sign off the show. We didn't know how the show would go in terms of being planned, and obviously when the conversation turned out to be an incredible 2-hour plus conversation with Erika Mori, we felt like that in itself is so substantial, and we just wanted to keep it in that kind of way. So, and in between that, obviously, we have a StrangeCast episode from last week. There's one this week, and there's obviously going to be one next week. This is kind of one in between our 2-week schedule. So we decided to take the news segment out. We got a couple of don't know pieces of news, which we'll cover in the next episode. And we decided to leave Spread the Arts out of the segment because, like, as I said, it's a one-off special kind of with Erika Mori. But I do hope you enjoyed that and you took away some really fascinating insights from what she said. It was kind of more of a deeper and complex conversation with Erika Mori, who's obviously incredible. And, you know, as I've mentioned during the interview with Erika Mori, we are trying to get Han Soto on Life After Strange. You should tweet at him, Life After Soto, #. Get him on here. I'd love to have him on here. I think he's a cool fucking dude. We have Erika Mori on our case trying to get him on here. So, you know, definitely tweet at Han, say you should come on Life After Strange because I've got very interesting conversations to have with him, and he's just a cool dude as well in itself. So I do really want to talk to him. But yeah, as I said, this will be the end of the show. So if you are watching on YouTube, please do leave us a subscribe, turn on notifications, share it with your friends, and like the video as well. It does really help with the visibility. We're slowly creeping to 1,000 subscribers, and that would be an absolute dream to hit that as well for me. And obviously StrangeCast is available on RSS feed, so it's available on Audible, it's available on Apple Podcasts, it's available on Amazon, pretty much every podcast platform, it's on there. And if you are listening to Apple Podcasts, please do leave us a rating as well if you can. We do have 2 5-star ratings, which obviously I do appreciate, but do leave us any if you haven't, because it does help with improving our rating and algorithms and whatnot. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned, we'll be back next week with a StrangeCast. And obviously, again, thank you to everyone who submitted questions. It was really nice to have you all involved. So until next week, take care, and we'll see you then. I'll have Adam with me this time as well. See you later, guys.